Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. So, in this video, I'm going to be, making more buildings to the city. So, if you like these videos and you want to see more of me building the city up, then I'd recommend liking and subscribing, since this is what I'm probably going to be doing for a little bit. So, let's start. So, we have apartment and hotel buildings. Well, say that you want to make it's hard to explain. But say you want to make a 2x2 apartment building. Like a double apartment building, I guess. That one's 1x1. This one's going to be 2x2. I show you. So, first we need to find is an area to build. And you're not going to be able to build it in these columns. They're just not big enough. But say right here, right next to this road, you're gonna that it would be a great place too. So So to do so, what you're going to do is first build an outline. And I'd recommend building it and build it like how you would build this. How about the original, the, the normal size apartment buildings. Alright. So a singular apartment building is is 8 by 8. A double apartment building is 16 by 16. So you're gonna have to build another square this way. And you should have a rectangle that looks like this. So this is 8 by 16. So, then what you're going to do is build 10 is build 8 right here. And then connect it with this side. The alleyways are also going to be 2 times bigger. And so first build calcite around the alleyways. Alright? But then get something. You can use coarse dirt or dripstone. Gonna use dripstone because it looks the best, but you can use any block. Add the sidewalk in front of here, and it should only go in the back and the sides of the building, not in the front. Okay? And it should not be in the front because why would it be in the front? And then cover it, and then cover around the the alleyway block with sidewalk block. Do you have this? So now you can really use this for anything. It doesn't have to be an apartment, like I showed you. But I'd recommend making this an apartment for the meantime. Okay, cut that out. So this is not really like an apartment. These are apartments. So it's not really gonna be an apartment. You could probably use this as an apartment, but I don't know. I want it. It actually looks like a mall. So I'd say making this a mall. But you can just make it an apartment if you want to. Especially if you're gonna add more. There's actually gonna be different variants the of the double apartment building. Though I'm gonna call this a mall, okay? So as you see, make the L shape at each corner, except it's 3 blocks away from the center, which is here. And fill those up 3 blocks high. So now they should be 3 blocks high. So obviously we're gonna need doors to enter. But first, I'd recommend placing light blue stained glass right here. And then placing placing gray concrete right here. And then you can place the doors. And I'd recommend birch doors because they 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 look like they this looks like glass. Something, I don't know. And then roof that off. So then obviously don't put any doors next to the alleyways at all. So what you are gonna do is make the sides fully windows. And I would make this fully window, but it would just look weird because glass stained because stained planes don't connect to doors. It would just look odd. So you should have this. So again, like what we did to the apartments, you're gonna want to place polish andesite around them. So it's gonna be the ground floor of the mall. So, so how do you go from floor to floor in a mall? Well, there could be two answers. One is escalators. So I ever pronounce that wrong? And for that, you're going to need blackstone stairs. And another one is elevators. So I'm going to be, and so you can incorporate both of them. But you can also just use one or the other. But for this part, I'm going to use blackstone stairs. So this is how to build a escalator. Kind of like an elevator, except there's stairs. So what you're gonna need is just blackstone stairs. That's really it. And and there's probably some person out there saying that, oh, you can just do this and you'll move up the stairs faster, like on your own. But I don't know how to do that, so yeah, you're just gonna have stairs. You're just gonna have to walk up the stairs. And there's probably some crazy command that allows you to just instantly to go up the stairs without moving. I don't know how. So, anyways, so I'd recommend putting it in like the middle of of a of of a wall. So these are the walls, and this part of the wall is the middle, as well as this part. And I'd recommend putting it some. I'd recommend not putting it like right here because that's close to the entrance. I recommend putting it like somewhere over here, facing a face like when you enter it, you can just like see it. So so I'd recommend putting it in the here or here or here in the window, since these are like the middle. And then place the next one right here. And actually, I'd recommend placing it right here, so you can place so you can place this right there. Then build up again, and yeah, just repeat this until until the blackstone stair is next is on the same layer as the polished andesite. And when you're at that, you don't place a polished blackstone stair at the end. And that is basically how to build an escalator. And you can just build up to how many floors you're gonna have. And I'd recommend having like 3 floors. I recommend having 2 floors plus the ground floor, which is this one. And I'd also recommend building 2 escalators on on opposite sides of them, of course. So another thing that you find often in in malls are elevators. So, to make an elevator, I recommend using the corners, which are these and these. And I recommend building it somewhere close, somewhere farther away from the door, but you don't have to. And there's also a chance that you may not be able to build, and you also don't have to build it like right here by the corner, but it's a lot more easier if you build it by the corner. But you can also just build it right here. If you do decide to build in like the middle, I'd recommend building it 4 by 4. If it's in the corner, I'd recommend building it 2 by 2. So since I built the escalators, I'm gonna have to build it in the middle. So this is not gonna work like an elevator. You're not gonna just travel up or down by pressing a button. But there's probably some command expert that's gonna be saying, "Oh, we could just do this and this." I don't know how to do it, so okay. I just start. So what you're gonna need is iron bars, polished andesite, a slab of any kind, and that should and as well as the wall, which is gray concrete. So first find the middle. And then you want to do this. And then you want to break and then you want to break this for a door. And if you're over here, then you just have to break one for a door. Building in a corner, you just have to do one for a door. But I'd recommend building in the middle because it just has more space. And then just build it up like it's a room. And then obviously build andesite around it, or whatever the floor block is. And then if you want to kind of make it functionable, add a ladder at the end. If you kind of want to make it, if you want to make it sort of functional. And of course, oh, one more thing. And also make sure also one more thing. Make sure that there is a walkway in front of the elevator. So I'd recommend building it up until you've reached the floors. And the floors that I'd recommend to build are two floors, including the ground level, or two floors plus the ground level. And that's how many floors I'll be building. So once you're on your top floor, you don't have to make the ladders any more higher. Although you can, but you don't have to. And then roof it off. So the reason you're gonna need the iron bars is because in the corner of each elevator there's these bars. There's like these rails, and to imitate that in Minecraft, we're gonna use iron bars and make sure that it's on each one of the elevators. So that's it. Anyways, so malls are usually made to sell stuff, whether it be clothing, whether it be foods. So obviously you're gonna have to make some rooms. So I'm gonna show you how to make rooms. First, you're gonna need a place to, you know, make the rooms. Can't just make them out of thin air, can you? And you can build them on the ground level, but it could be very difficult. If you are gonna build them on the ground level, I recommend building them in the back. So, so you see where in the corners are. I recommend making making the L shape 4 blocks from the center, from the corner, which is right here. So you see we got 4 blocks now. Well, now what we're gonna do is get a slab and do this. And I'd recommend destroying this. If there's an elevator right here, I'd recommend destroying it, or people won't be able to walk by it. So in here, and it depends on what it is. It depends. But what we're gonna do is get polished andesite, and then an item frame And I'd recommend a glow item frame, and that will be used as like a cashier thing, as like a caching thing. You feel like I did wrong? Yeah, it can be used to like cache things. You know, I don't know. Like, okay, it's hard to explain actually, but yeah, basically, whenever you buy something and there's a cashier. Have you ever been to Walmart? Basically, the cashier has to. Basically, the cashier, if your parents use money, which like no one does anymore, it's just credit cards. The cashier would take the money and just and place it in here. But most people just use credit cards, unless like a store doesn't take credit cards, then they use money. You probably won't know. And depending on what store of it is, if it's a clothing store, if it's a clothing one, I recommend adding armor stands to it, which have leather armor. But I only recommend adding like leather leather tunic and a leather pants. But on the other hand, but on the other hand, if it's like a bakery or something, I'd recommend getting a smoker and putting them right here. And like the same way that we made the ovens in the restaurant, it's the same thing here. And that should be it. So to make a clothing and a bakery, like one. And that is basically it with the mall. And I'll finish this in my free time. But there's also different variants of a mall. Like this is this is like a 2x2 mall. If this is 1x1, this is 2x2. All right. Well, well. So this is one square. This is four squares. What about three squares? So this is going to be an L-shaped mall. So an L-shaped mall is going to look different. All right. So first, of course, make an make a singular square right here. And a square is 4 by 4, in case you don't know. And then add another one. And of course, add another square right here. But this only has 3 squares, so that's your limit. This is an L shape one. Of course, make sure that they are all. Of course, make sure they are all squares. And yeah, that's your L shape mall. And make sure that the 8 by that 2 squares are facing the road, or that or 2 squares are the entrance. Obviously, this is not going to be an entrance at all. So this is kind of like how we built the the four square mall. This window and these 2 windows at the front. And of course, add at the top floor with polished andesite. And also add the alleyway as well. Get this. And instead of putting the escalators here, you're gonna put the escalators or elevators here. If you're gonna put a elevator, I'd recommend only putting one escalator, and I recommend putting two escalators because just put two. Just look better. And I'd recommend not having an elevator for this one, but you can if you want. It's just that it's probably going to be difficult. Of course, add all the stores, build it up till there are two floors as well as a ground level. But there's also another way to make a mall, and this one is a two-block one. Of course, build one eight, and of course build one block, which is you know it by now, 8 by 8. So once you've made a square, make another square. And of course, build the alleyway. And if it's touching another alleyway, remove the sidewalk. Alright, so of course, build the L shape. Always. And of course, add the polish andesite. And this is, and you should definitely use excavators for this. Of course, add them near the front. It's actually pretty difficult to add escalators. Count count 1, 2, 3 blocks from the doors. Count 1, count 2, and then on the second block, add your escalator. And do that on the opposite side as well. You know how we made an alleyway? Well, what's gonna be in the alleyway? Well, if you know anything, there's usually trash cans in the alleyway. So get green terracotta, black carpet, as well as polished black stone buttons. And if you want to make a trash bag, get black concrete powder. So to make a trash bag, what you're gonna do is place down black concrete powder and a polished black stone button, and add that around the alleyway. That's how to make a trash bag. To make a trash can, you're gonna need I'd say polished basalt with a slab. I'd say smooth stone slab, or actually a cobblestone slab. And you can use polished black stone concrete as wheels. And don't add them next to a road. This is where a road's gonna be, so don't add them next to a road. And to make a dumpster, just take green terracotta with black concrete on top and polish black stone button. And I'd actually recommend using polished black stone instead of black carpet. Yeah, that actually looks better. And of course, yeah, that looks good. So then you should have this alleyway. Do not put any of them inside the alley part, and do not put them next to each other. And do not put them next to roads because they just look bad. And this you're allowed to put the you're allowed to put apartments next to alleyways, just that they can't be in alleyways. And that's basically it. Oh, yeah, that's basically it. Oh, and for lighting inside of here, I recommend getting a LAN. Recommend getting a lantern. Oh, and one more thing. Once you're done building the malls, and you've built the roof, like what we did with these, of course, place slabs. And of course, around the perimeter of the L-shaped one and the two square, two box one. There. And that's it. See you in the next video. Bye.